911, do you have an emergency?
Yes, I'm on East Paradise. I don't know what happened, but Emily, she was driving. We heard shots fired, but we need someone here right now because I think she was hit by the bullet. I don't know.
Okay, is this person injured then by a gun?
I think she's dead.
I live on Walnut Street, and I have a girl that just came to my door. She kind of pushed her way into my house and said that she was just with a girl that got shot.
Emily was full of laughter and life. A friend of hers described her perfectly a couple weeks ago. When Emily came to visit you, it was like she brought 10 people with her.
She had the most bubbly personality. She was so happy. She loved her babies to no end. When she smiled, everyone smiled. She had the greatest laugh. Her laugh was so infectious.
I'm sorry. She was like my sister growing up. Her and I were cousins, but we grew up together literally every day. Pretty much like our moms are really close, and I was always really close with her and my brother and our other cousin. And she was like the closest thing I had to a sister. She loved to like go out and dance and listen to rap music. Like she loved rap music. It's so funny. I don't know why she was like the whitest girl I knew, and she loved like super hood music. Like always loved to dance, but she loved her babies.
She loved summertime. She loved being outside in the summertime. One of her favorite things to do was, we have a porch swing out front, and she would spend hours out there swinging. They met through a mutual friend. I just remember the first time I met him, I didn't have a good feeling about him at all, and he was so unlike any of the other previous relationships, which were very few.
She was so happy, so excited. Like she's like, oh, this new guy, like he's in the Army, he's such a good guy. I heard nothing but good things about him, and then I met him in person.
Well, when I first saw him, like I said, there was just something, and I truly feel it was something in his eyes that I didn't like. They knew that the only way they could be together in the military is you have to be married. She couldn't just move out there and be with him as his girlfriend. So that was the only reason that they decided to get married, and she even went out a few times beforehand just to visit because he had been calling her at all times of the day and night and accusing her of seeing other people and so on and so forth.
It was always iffy. I mean, like we knew that wasn't her person.
I do remember one particular night where she called me in hysterics because he had choked her and thrown her down on the bed. And just in talking to her, she was extremely depressed. He kept the room that they were staying in a hotel at that time. He kept the room very dark, kept her very isolated. Once they were married, she wasn't allowed to share on social media that they were married. He never wanted anybody to know that they were married.
He wouldn't let her change her last name on Facebook to Woods.
They were constantly arguing. He was so manipulating, and he had her mind so messed up, and there were so many times that they would get in arguments, and Emily had bipolar disorder. He would take her medicine and flush it down the toilet.
One time, my cousin John and we were over at Emily's house, and she was inside, and the babies were gone, like they were at a sitter's or something, and Wally was saying how he was gonna have some girl come pick him up and do all this stuff, and like he's like staying there with my aunt and uncle and Emily and their babies, and he's saying he's gonna have this chick come pick him up, and like he's gonna cheat on her, and just saying that she was like a whore, and just like saying the most like horrific things that you would ever say to somebody, like, and let alone the mother of his children.
When it got bad, it was bad. Like it wasn't a 5-minute fight. She would call me crying for hours, and I would go down there and we would sit on the swing for hours, and she would just cry, and it would be the same fight over and over again. It would never, ever get resolved.
So she had pretty much started to make up her mind that the relationship was not going to go anywhere and it wasn't healthy. And once she got home and got surrounded by her family and her friends, then that helped start to build up her confidence that I don't deserve the treatment I'm getting, and it's time to end this marriage. Her plans, after were basically to stay here because she had the twins that were going to be born in July. She knew she wasn't going to be able to make it on her own initially, so her plans were just to stay here. She was going to work as much as she could, put the girls in daycare then when she was able to go back to work, and just try to begin to build a life as a single mom, of course with the support and help of us. That particular day, she had decided she was going to let him see the twins because he was supposed to be sentenced the following day in Medina County for the domestic violence that occurred here. They were both anticipating that he was going to be put in jail, and he convinced her to let him see the twins one last time. So that Thursday morning, I happened to be home because Adriana had the flu and I was going to be working from home. She drove the twins to Orville, and while she was there, she called me and said, "He won't get out of the car." And I told her, "You tell him if he doesn't get out of the car, I'm going to call the police because you're both violating the civil protection order." And he was just talking kind of crazy. I could hear him mumbling in the background. He ended up getting out, but when she got home, she said, "When I go back down to get them later, I don't want to go by myself because I'm afraid." And that was the first time I really heard her say those words, "I'm afraid, I don't want to go by myself." So I had told her, "Wait till 4:30 when I'm done work and I'll go down with you." She spent the day with Adriana. They napped, and at 2:30 I was sitting here at the table on my work computer, and she came out and she said, "I want to go get him now. I just have a bad feeling. I want to go get him now and get home." So I explained to her that I couldn't go with her, and she ended up convincing her best friend's sister to go with her, Taylor. She promised me she would be home by 5:30. She kissed me, she kissed Adriana, and left. And I remember at 5:30, I started to feel nervous. Whether it was mother's intuition, I don't know. I started to call her. I texted her. I got no reply at all. And I was getting more concerned. And I don't even know if I can remember the exact time that it was. I'm thinking it was around 7 when I got a phone call from Wally's aunt that lives in Charleston, West Virginia. And she just said, "All I know is that she's been shot." And it was just so surreal. It was like something that you watch on TV happening to somebody else and you never dream it's going to happen to you. So I called my husband, and he came right home. And I remember it was raining that night, and we dropped Adriana off at our friend's house, and I remember I just wanted him to drive as fast as he could.
Debbie called me frantically, and she was hysterical. And she's like, "I need you to watch AJ." I said, okay. Like, I didn't ask any questions. And she's like, "All I know is Emily's injured."
We were notified a few minutes after we got to the police department that she had died. And I just remember screaming because I couldn't believe that it was real. And the thing that haunts me the most is that I wasn't able to tell her goodbye. I wasn't able to hold her hand, run my fingers through her hair. I wasn't able to tell her how much I loved her, and what a wonderful daughter she was, and I wasn't able to promise her that I would take care of her girls. But I was so thankful that he hadn't done anything with Helena and Delaney, that he spared their life even though they were sitting right there in the back seat as he took a gun and shot her within 6 inches of her body. He shot her in the face, and he shot her in the chest. He shot her right through her aorta. And he shot her another place in her chest, and they recovered a bullet from her wrist. And the only reason he didn't continue to shoot was because something happened with the firing mechanism in the gun, because he had more rounds. He just kept saying, because I've seen part of the interview, that everybody deserves justice, and that was her justice, which makes no sense to me. But the assistant prosecutor said that he had stated, Emily told him that he would not see the twins again. So he had decided that if he wasn't going to be able to see them, then neither was she.
AJ knows. AJ understands. She doesn't know why Mommy's gone, but she knows Mommy was hurt. We were in the car the other day, and she goes, "Monkey, I miss Mommy," because she calls me Monkey. She goes, "Monkey, I miss Mommy." I said, "So do I." She's like, "She never came home like she said she would." And I'm like, "No, honey, she didn't come home." She's like, "But it's okay because she has the biggest wings, and they're the most sparkliest wings, and she's teaching everyone how to fly." And I said, "Yes, honey, she is." The babies don't know. When they see pictures, they get really excited, but they were too young to understand.
What I found after I went back to work after a 3-month leave of absence was that they're my Band-Aid. And when I don't have them, the grief just absolutely consumes me. And just when I think I'm getting to a point where things are getting a little bit easier, something happens, and then I'm back to feeling the same way that I did back in January and February. I am committed to never letting anybody forget about her, and I'm committed to finding a way to make this tragedy have an impact and make a difference. Working with Sarah Buttison from Channel 5, because she is going to be doing another story in November about how Ohio doesn't have any type of database that links people that have been charged with domestic violence and people that have civil protection orders out against them. There's no database that has all this information in, that if an individual like Wally did got arrested for rape, they could have been able, if we had a database, they could have been able to go in and see, oh, he has domestic violence charges against him and he has a civil protection order. And the Wayne County prosecutor said had they had that information, it would have definitely changed the amount of bond, and he probably wouldn't have gotten out of jail.
If you have any doubts about your significant other or about like a friend's significant other, you just need to tell them. Or like make them aware of protection orders and everything, because I just think the law on protection orders, one, should be like way more, I don't even know what the word to use, like enforced, I guess, because people, I feel like they take protection orders as a joke.
In domestic violence situations, we oftentimes have the victims of domestic violence returning to their abusers, whether in a relationship or having contact with them, whether or not there's a civil protection order. They do it time and time again, and unfortunately, every time they do that, it risks their safety and ultimately can risk their lives, as it did in Emily's case.
It's one thing if like you get robbed and have a protection order against like the person that robbed you, but if you are in like a relationship and you get a protection order against your significant other, like that is a game changer.
So if a protection order is in place, it's not going to, first of all, it's just a piece of paper. If the respondent violates it, he can be arrested and charged for violating it, but it's still just a piece of paper. And the person, the petitioner, the victim of domestic violence must do their best to maintain their own safety, not just by abiding by the terms of the civil protection order, but any way possible to stay away from their abuser.
If you know it's not okay, you need to get out. Even if it takes a long time, you need to try to get out.